Will robots replace dogs in earthquake rescue? No, robots will not replace dogs any more than the color blue would replace the color red on an artist's palette. They have different strengths and weaknesses, and the real goal is to use them together. The dogs quickly indicate that there are survivors in the rubble, then the robots slowly work into the rubble to locate them. So think of it as having red, blue, and the ability to mix them and make a new color purple. Generally, we're less interested in robots that climb over rubble. People can do that, and drones can do that. Drones are very, very quick to search the top of rubble, as we saw at the Surfside condominium collapse and documented in our National Science Foundation work. We want robots to go into the interior of rubble, more than 18 feet, which is about the maximum that a borescope or a camera on a wand can go. Canine teams are wonderful. In less than 90 seconds, they can signal whether there's someone still alive in that rubble. There's some disadvantages, though. They can't determine where that survivor is. That depends on the airflow through the rubble, and the smell may be coming out quite a ways from where the survivors are. And we'd like to know where they are so that we can speed up the extrication. Extrication can take 20 or so people 10 hours. So you don't want to waste that effort digging in the wrong place and then having to start all over again. Canine teams do have disadvantages. Dogs are a limited resource. There are relatively few trained canine dog teams, and the dogs get tired just like people. They also need food and water and can be harder to transport. Think about all those countries with veterinarian restrictions on pets coming into the country. But it's not easy for a robot. The robot has to go to an extremely small voids. We're talking holes less than 1 meter across, and then try to work their way down into the rubble. Our recent NSF work with Florida State and Carnegie Mellon confirms my work at disasters since 2000s, that there are very few survivable voids in a building collapse, and there's often no path, no tunnel from the surface to that survivable void. Well, that means that the robot has to be very small. It has to be able to go up and down and around in twisty voids, and ultimately has to do a bit of burrowing. Plus, the robot has to have some sort of eyelets to protect its camera as it does the burrowing, and to be able to see through all that suspended dust. It's like trying to crawl through a pile of blankets. There's no room. It's very different from rolling into an intact structure, rolling into a room and looking around. Everything about the robot has to fit into a backpack because that's how it will have to be carried to that void. So with the current technology, it's hard. A lot of robots require up to 4 people just to operate, whereas a canine team is a dog and a person, which has much less impact on getting food, water, transportation, and fuel. Yeah, but don't write off robots, though. Just getting a robot into the rubble where there are survivors can help the structural specialists see a bit of how the pickup sticks of the rubble are arranged and what they can expect to dig. So that can help speed up the extrication. Nothing about the challenges for robots in collapsed structures have changed in the past 20 years, and the robots themselves have not changed a great deal because of the extreme design challenges and the lack of financial incentives. What has changed is that our team has been able to reconstruct the interior of rubble from the Surfside condominium collapse. That means we now have a better understanding of the design parameters needed for a successful robot. The Cursor Project's doing a great job of trying to make smaller robots with better sensors. Kudos to them. I just wanted to answer the question.